Good morning, traders. Hello and welcome to this morning update live trading stream. Today is the 8th of May 2025. My name is Igor and I am a coach over at Chart Champions. Let's say hello to everybody, and as usual, please give us a quick sound check to make sure that you can all hear me. And yes, let's kind of like a nice little update for you all here. Let's just go in the chat and see who's in the house. We've got Not Kevin Wilds, Paul, Pablo, Lucky, Daniel, Pablo there again, Meat Puri, Christina, H1PS, a champion member there, Daniel, the Houdini trader, Chili Mangeli, Homer, Readers, Astelios, Dirk is in the house, Alex, Osmin, Rainer, Joico, Palios, Daniel, Woodchopper. Hello, my friend. A good trader is able to change his bias intraday, even intra-hour, as new information comes in. Love it. Very, very good. Rusty's in the house. Woodchopper there. Good morning, champs. Good morning. Okay, all right. Okay. I've just skipped all the way down and I can see. Bon dia. Sound is great. Yes. Good morning. Bon dia, everybody. Yes. Yeah. Perfect. It's nice to see some familiar faces there. Daniel should be here as well in the house. I can probably see a few comments there. Nice. Imagine how that would be happy to pump and post your local. Okay, yes, nice. Sup, good morning. All right, so it's really lovely to see a few people here. So we have a few viewers. Yes, as always, listen, just give us a like. It helps the channel, and this is what we're here doing, growing every day, to help as many traders as we can. So yeah, throughout the stream, I'll try and be a little bit here. Any questions you have, please ask. I'll keep my eye there on the corner for any questions. And yeah, let's start with BTC. I'll go over to TradingView. But yeah, any questions? If you have a special request, we can probably take a look at. It's nice to see BTC, with the move up. We kind of expected this into 100k, and we're just about to kiss it. So it is a big, massive psychological level, as you all know. And yeah, over the past few weeks, months, and even year, we've been just always on it on BTC. For some of you here, like Chart Champion has been here for a long time now. It's not like our first bull market or bear market. We've seen a lot of stuff over the past few years, and every day we come in a chat, and we update our members, what we're doing, what's our plans. David is in the house. Hello, my friend. The most active user ever, period, in the history of Chart Champions. Love you, mate. But yeah, please smash the likes. Let's dive into BTC TradingView. Let's go. Oh yeah, that camera's on. Okay, that's fine. Right. So like yesterday, and I might even pull up Discord. Give me a second there. Let me just go to my channel there. Yes, any questions, please just pop them in. I'm just going to pull up the levels from yesterday and what we were looking at. So yesterday we were looking for the first level there to the upside, being the 99,700. But actually, it's not really that important because it was 100k that we were looking at. There you are. We're basically just kissing that 100k. So as you know, there's going to be no trade here. So this is my kind of like levels for today. Should we get a move back down to that previous week high, that's where I have my first kind of level, 98,615, as you can see here. Because it kind of like, it is nice confluence. We have the single print, we have the VWAP, and obviously the biggest level here will be that previous week high. So but yeah, we're literally just touching 100k. I mean, how amazing is that? And that's where I have the alert. So I'm just going to remove that because it's the overnight high. I'm just going to delete that so we don't hear it buzzing all the time. And then let's take a look at the higher time frame here, and I'm going to put the candles because I know some of you can't quite see it. But yeah, so there's nothing so far bearish about this chart. For the champion members over at CC Chart Champions, you've all had like pretty much every week a very detailed plan on BTC, including this level up here, which was a short trade that we all took a few days back now. So this is the RTH chart, and we were looking at the close from an RTH session, and that's where we topped here at 98, 555-ish, around that, the high there. But then when we came back down, we did not break the previous week low. So this is previous week low. We did not break it, and we just reclaimed and then came back inside this balance, which was at the time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So back inside the range. And obviously yesterday, with the data being neutral again, we're getting this move higher. So yeah, now that we're at 100k, let me just put some key levels here. So now that we are at 100k, the next level to the upside, you can see it there, it's going to be the top of that candle there, coming in at 100, 235, and then it's going to be the close very high up. And the reason for this close here is because there's a lot of stops there. So 101, 700. So those are my two targets on BTC. But the question now is, where to buy this thing. Like, let's say you miss the move to the upside. You kind of like have to look at this now currently at day trades, and the best and like closest level going into today is that previous week high coming in at 98,615, and then after that we have the 98.50, so it's a little bit lower, and what we're looking at here is the previous day RTH high. So you can see that that's previous day high there, and then this is the RTH high at a single print when we broke out this morning. But let's just go through this quick plan here. This is something I do every morning for the champions, and I post in the chat. I've not posted it this morning, so maybe I should do that now before they get angry at me. But yeah, so the daily, we are one time framing up. I hope you can see that there on this little corner here. So daily, one time framing up. What I mean by that is that each day we're breaking previous day highs, as you can see. Maybe some of you are better familiar with the candles, but you know, I guess 100k is distracting me here a little bit. But there you go. So through 100k, let's see that RTH close there to the tick. Let's take a look at that, and I'm going to bring up my order flow. I want to see the orders coming in there on the CME. We're basically coming up to that 100.235. Let's see how precise this is going to be. But yeah, so like continue with the plan. We are one time framing up on the daily, one time framing up on the weekly, one time framing up on the monthly. So each and every single time frame is up, as you can see here. So I'm going to go to the monthly. So monthly, one time framing up. What that means is that the previous month broke the last month, so that's up. The weekly, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth week in a row, and this is what I was saying just now, that we did not break that previous week low. So when you open, come down, you don't take the previous week low. That's bullish, and you have to look for the high, and that's what we're looking at, following a nice short that we took from our level. And then on the daily, again, we are in the balance. We looked below, did not break previous week low, and now we're looking at the other side. And it's very much like if one, then two, meaning like if you know, you do a failed auction above the range high, then you look for the other side. So let's go back to the 24-hour. There you go. And I am going to put this on 5 minutes down here because we want to see this level. Let's go quickly. There you go. So we're coming up to that resistance. And this is during overnight. So yeah, those two levels down there, previous week high, we've got an alert. So should we get the little pullback? And I'm not interested in shorts here. Not yet, because the reason for no shorts here, it's because this is a very crowded area. When it comes to such big psychological levels, you're going to have a lot of emotional trading rather than like you know, focused trading. A lot of traders will be just, you know, putting positions left, right, and center because, you know, they've missed the move. They weren't here like we were, like doing the analysis, you know, watching price every day, you know, getting in sync with this market, and they've missed the 75k move up. They didn't buy the accumulation, and now like it gets to 100k and they get too excited and then they get wrecked. So, you know, don't be that trader, you know, be calm, collected, and wait for a little pullback. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents there on BTC. You know, don't FOMO in. You know, this is not a place to be buying now. Like, you have to think like if like you bought, like, just ask yourself this question. Let's say you did buy you know, 80k even for that matter, the pullback. You know, you're up now. Let's go from just 80k up to 100. You're up like, let's call it 20%. You know, would you really be buying up here when it comes to, you know, the 100k psychological level? Well, the answer should be no, because it's not the best risk to reward. You can see that we are basically just coming up to the range high here of these highs. I'm just going to delete these levels from previous and those as well, so you can see better. And I'm going to expand this chart. And there you go. So and I'm going to hide these two as well. So you can see we're coming up to this kind of like range high. So this is not a place where you should be looking for longs. Look, you kind of want to, you know, be patient. If you're not in a long trade, just, you know, stay on the sidelines. But this is also not a place to be looking for shorts yet, because there's really no sign of weakness here. You know, even this pullback here, I mean, that was so technical, and I don't mind sharing with you all, but this was super technical. Like, honestly, this was like, we called this to the tick. and it was just so technical that, you know, sometimes it gives you those goosebumps, right? But there you go. So this is what we were looking at the time, and that's where we're rejected from. Okay, there you go. So, you know, if I just put this line across and then we go back to, let's say a 30-minute and the candles, and then look at that. So we actually rejected from that 98,555 for the pullback. Okay, so, you know, shorts can be had, but only at key resistance levels, like we had there. But we never took the previous week low. So that's nice. That's nice. And it shows that, you know, BTC really wants to move higher. So, you know, again, don't be that, you know, cowboy that wants to take those, you know, premature trades. Let the market show you, okay, we want to go down. And I don't see any of that just yet. Okay, none of that. So, okay, so let me just put everything back in. Actually, we'll keep it like this, nice and clean for you all. But previous day, yesterday we had value was higher, as you can see here. So from previous, so yeah, I mean every sign here was pointing to higher. I'm just looking. Yeah, I mean, I've got my levels. We've got the alerts. We're going to have to be patient and wait for those. Yes, we're at 100K, but no shorts from me here. Let me know in the chat. Are you short, long? It looks like £8 a month. It's not really expensive. No, for the CMA, the CME data, just honestly, it's $7 a month. It's worth every single penny. I would definitely recommend you get that. Yes, definitely get that. CME chart is by far the most respected level, especially during RTH. Yes, I mean, if you're a champion member, you know what I look. I mean, I've been collecting statistics and I've been trading the CME for quite some time now, and there's many reasons why I do the CME. The reason, well, more specifically, I check the CME main pair, okay, but then obviously because one BTC on the CME, it's 5 times the underlying asset, meaning, like, for example, right now, one BTC on the CME, the main pair, is $100,040 times 5. That's one lot. So that's when, actually, let me just load the normal chart. Give me a second and I'll just load Optimus BTC. There we go. Let me just load a chart here, and then we can see actually the main pair. So this is the main pair. Okay, I'll go to this channel. Okay, so this is the main pair here. So when you look at volume, yeah, you can see it. So when you look at volume, you've got 101 lots in this 30-minute candle thus far. So that's each one of those is 5 times 100K. So that's quite, even though like we don't have like the ES, 500 every minute, whatever, you have to think that it is quite some volume, especially for a new asset class that it's only just kind of like coming to fruition and, maturing. And there's quite a lot going on here. So let's delete these VWAPs and make it a little bit more clean. There you go. So, yeah, I've been tracking this and trading this because A, the fees are much better. B, you kind of like, when you have like an account with a broker that has like the proper CME data, you kind of trust your funds there a little bit more, like AMP, Optimus Futures, Interactive Brokers, etc. So, or Charles Schwab, or whatever. So, it is one price for all. Like you all see, like the traders that trade ES and NQ, they all have and trade the same prices. They all look at, let's say, NQ right now is trading at 20,182. So that's it. And when it comes to crypto, unfortunately, because there's so many exchanges, so many derivatives, there's people. The most common question I get asked is, what's the price on this exchange and that exchange? Because it's always different. And this is why futures is amazing, because that's it. It's one price across everything. It's not like Forex or anything like that. So funds protected by the FCA, your money is like protected. Well, not all of it, but at least some of it. You've got cheaper fees and you've got one price to quote, plus the levels are respected. And let me show you something, and this is for the champions, very, very kind of like nice to see, because they've seen this so many times. So also, if you're a champion, that I like to look at the bars, but I'm just going to change it for the sake of this this stream here. I'm just going to change this to the daily, and I'm going to show you how like the simple things really matter. And please don't ignore price right now. Like if you're not in the long from lower levels, you know, there's no point of you being like FOMOing or like looking at order flow here. There's really nothing to be had there. We're coming into a resistance. You just have to be calm, collected, and say there's a new bus coming in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, which is a new trade. So, you know, please don't FOMO and just kind of like pay attention or learn something. But let's look at just the 200 simple moving average here. And this is not hindsight trading. This is something that if you go back to our charts in the group, you will find that this is something we've been looking at for many months, let's put it this way. And I made everybody aware around that 26, 27K, you know, that BTC was changing its trend and it was coming into like a little bull market. And, you know, we were buying Bitcoin down there. And it's just a simple plot. A simple moving average on the daily time frame on BTC, and look how beautiful and respected it is, especially the last 2 times that it did that. Last time it was at 50K. This here was amazing. Like we cleaned and touched that 55K, but then we came back below to just clean that 50K psychological. It was incredible to see this. At the same time, we had the ARC, the the spot investment for BTC. We also had that at such key level. I mean, look at this. So it's really incredible. Like to back test the previous, you know, the inception high. This was so key that, I mean, at the time it was just like so nice to see. And then we even had a pullback back down to that area. So yeah, these are what I follow, and the respect is just immense because, you know, this is what, you know, higher time frame traders, institutions are looking at. And there you go. There's the first daily 200 SMA touch was down at 75K. Go figure. You know, like an inception of an ETF, the first time it really matures and comes back down to the biggest sort of like trend line that you can have on your charts, which is a 200 daily simple moving average. And look at that. And I just love to see the closes. I mean, the closes on this is just wow. Super incredible. Anyway, don't take my words for it. Just go down, dive deep into these charts, and you will find that the respect is nice, especially if you're like trading BTC for the longer term. You know, it really helps keep your buyers on check. Like, for example, let me show you. So one more thing here on this on the CME, and every day, and the champions know this. So every day, I come in here and I do the following. So I typically track these 3 moving averages, okay? And every day I've been coming in here and doing the following, and I'll show you a little trick for you. So every day, look at this. Every day forever, like I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Even, okay, get this. Even when we were coming down here, every day I was plotting the 200 SMA, but this I was always changing this number higher, never lower. So you can see here, so even though everybody was becoming really bearish as we were coming down here, I was moving this up every day. And I'm just going to go to the 24. There you go. This is going to give us a better there you go, perfect, because I've adjusted this today. Every day I was moving this from, for example, let's say 68 to 70, 69 to 71 as price was moving down. And this to me just told me that on the higher time frame, this asset class is still bullish, and we're coming down into support. We front runner, this is RTH, and then we came down. Look at the closes, so perfect. But yeah, still moving up. And look at the 50 now. The 50 moving average, it started, it was flat for a good, while we were in this range up here, it was completely flat. And only yesterday to today, this has now moved up. The 100, it's still kind of like sideways there. But yeah, just a little key and little nugget for you to have there on your charts. And then mark it. So yeah, that's that on BTC. There you go. There's the move through the 250. We're nearly at that key level now. Well, we are there basically. So let's just zoom in. Let's go to a 5 minute. I'm going to put a little line chart here. It's easier to see. I'm even going to go a little bit lower. This is the level here that we're kind of like this is the only resistance now until we get to, I would say, 101,700. So there's quite a lot of room to the next, to the next one. So we could have a little pause here. What would be nice now would be to get a little retracement back down to approximately VWAP. That would be nice. We do have the single there. Look at that. So that would be really nice to see. But we don't have a structure here change. So, you know, still very early, but that would be nice. And we have NQ and ES also ripping here. And that was one of my targets earlier. I actually took a little trade earlier and I closed it too early. I went long from, let me just move this. Yeah, I went long from previous day high, but I closed it a little bit early because it took so long to get out of the, you know, this range. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it took me when we came down to previous day high, we spent, you know, this is a 15-minute chart, you can see. So if I go down to 1 minute, we spent quite a bit of time here. And then we finally broke. But yeah, I only netted 300, I think. Yeah, 300. So that was that. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick look at any questions you have, and then I'll go through quickly the plan on ES and NQ, because we are at a little resistance here. So the upside here was 198. We actually blasted through that 198 there, and 200, and we didn't quite hit the 50 there. Let me see on ES as well. Yeah, ES 5700. So that's kind of like where we are right now as well. But yeah, you know what, it's so hard to take shorts on these markets when your bias is bullish. And look, I mean, we are overextended, and if the market opens today like this on NQ, we're going to have a large gap again. And yesterday the M period was so extended. I mean, we went all the way from 19763 to an untested value before the pullback, and then we closed back pretty much inside the range at 950. So yeah, that was kind of like a nice touch there. But let's just keep this here because we're working within this range now. We've just touched, again, let's have a look. We've just touched, what's the high? 225. So we've just came all the way up to in between. Yeah, the M period closed there, or open actually. So M period close. So we still have unfinished business above, and my target's to the upside, but we'll go through that in a second. Let me just sip my coffee while I take a quick look here at the chat. Make sure that you guys are still with me. And Jim, RTH is regular trading hours. On TradingView, at the very low, if you are on anything above the daily, you're not going to see this down here. So there's no RTH here. There's no like options. If you go to a 24-hour, okay, and this I've got it verified by TradingView, so you know, a little nugget for you. If you go to the 24 hours, you're going to be able to see 24 hours and below. So just add manually 24 hours, not the daily, 24 hours, because that is classified as, you know, intraday range. If you go there or below, like a 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, then you're going to be able to see the electronic trading hours and regular trading hours. And regular trading hours is when the stock market opens. Okay, so typically New York open, and then these candles, let me just hide everything here. So these candles will then show just, and I'm just gonna, actually I'll show you like this on a 30 minutes. Okay, and I'm gonna hide the candles. So give me just a second for that to populate. VWAP, let's hide VWAP. There you go. So this is now showing this sort of like just this one session, and that session is going to be always between well, it's 2:30 UK time, but it's 9:30 obviously New York, all the way up to 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. I think it is, New York time. Okay, so it's just the regular trading hours, and typically these levels get the most respect on BTC. Okay, let me just delete that. And if I now disable that and go to the electronic trading hours, you're going to see now that I've got two sessions. I've got the session for the overnight, which you're currently on, as you can see there on BTC. So currently, you know, we held value area high. We open, actually, let me just mark it like this. So there you go. This is quite informative. So we open a little bit higher there, actually. Let me just check the candle there. That's the open. So I'll just hide the candles now. So we open, we came down, we touch the value area high from yesterday's RTH, okay, as well as the overnight point of control. So you have kind of like double confluence there from the overnight yesterday's point of control as well as the value area high. And then price kind of held that this morning for a nice move. And then once we broke, look at this. So this is yesterday's RTH high. So if I just enable these, you can say previous RTH high, 98.050. That is, as soon as we broke out of that after the open, that's exactly when we got a single print. And a single print is when you have that kind of displacement. There's not enough orders there and price just kind of like breaks away from that. Okay, and then you get to the midpoint, you've got another breakaway there at 99, and then we're building value up here now. So value is building higher into 100k. So I would say value is, we can call this like double distribution, one small one down here but the biggest one up here. So this would only be bearish. Okay, so this is only bearish. Let's say if later we are closing back below these singles and we start filling these singles, okay, but it's still, in my opinion, bullish if we hold that previous week or the previous week high. If we do back tests and then hold, great, we can look for higher prices, the next targets. And if we can't hold that, then we're going to have to look for yesterday's value, and yesterday's value is all the way down here. Okay, we've already touch previous day value area high, which means we're going to have the TPO, the point of control next, or the settlement down there at the value area low. So it's very much the context of, okay, let's say you missed the long. Well, just be patient because there's always going to be a new trade, and we can already see it. Like just based on these levels that I've just shared, I can see a couple of trades there, but I don't think we're going to get one here just now. I think this is going to stay here for a little bit. But yeah, for now I'm going to take a look at the questions, and I hope that answered the RTH. What is RTH? And I'm just going to hide that. Right, let's go to that. And yeah, we do have 750 people viewing, so please smash the likes. Yeah, give us a like and I'll help you with all the questions. Igor, do you mean you moved it up? Yes, I mean that every day, and this is more important, okay, when you do it every morning. So let's say every morning, because like this is what I do. Every morning I come in here and I've got these 3 screens on BTC, and I've shared this with the community. Okay, let's say every morning I come in here and I mark these levels. This is my plan. I'll do a blank one every day. I'll go like this. I'll go text, and then I go to my, daily cup in preparation. I've got this kind of like, let me just put this on 16. I've got this, and I just follow religiously. Every day I do this and I share with the community. And then it's like, okay, daily, are we one time framing up or down? Well, we're up in this case. Weekly, we're up. Monthly, we're up. And then what is the previous RTH session? And just by doing this manually every day, I get so much context that going through to my planning day, I know, well, I'm not going to look for shorts for today because all 3 time frames are up. Therefore, price is likely to go higher. Now, unless we hit a massive resistance like we kind of are now at 100k, but context trumps that. So that's what I do. But with the moving averages, what I do on this screen here, so this one is just purely for RTH, I will be tracking those moving averages every day. So I'll just enable them because I don't like to have many lines on my chart, and I just go, okay, where is the 100? Well, the 100 is kind of like moving down a little bit. So I will just go mark the 100 here, and then I sync this across all my charts so that I can then see it when I'm trading locally. I'll show you. So if I just enable the moving averages and I go down here, there you go. There's the 100 SMA because I've synced across my chart. So I know I'm at key support. So for example, let's go down to where the 200 was. There you go. So when price was coming through the 200, well, I knew the 200 was here. I don't have to have 50 charts moving on my thing, but because I'm doing this every day, I can see it's right there. Can you see that 200? It's right here. So when price comes down to it, I'm aware that we can go through the level back above it, but it's the context. We are at the very higher time frame reference. Therefore, any moves below, it's very much like that's going to be short-lived because we are at that big support daily time frame, and especially when you know that for the past I mean, I can tell you, like since Thursday the 6th, April 2023, that this went from moving down, the 200, to start to moving up. So you can see down here when it stopped, like every day we were coming in and marking the level. It was just a kind of like a flat line for a while, and then it started moving higher. There you go, higher. So then when you snap out of it, you know, by a few percent, and you're still like, let's say, for example, up here, so from the 200 SMA, you're like already up 40%. You're like, okay, well, let's just keep an eye on that, 200 SMA, because eventually we're going to come down, because that's fair value, right? We're going to come down and rebalance that. And there you go. So here you can see we come down, and at all of this point, I'd be moving this 200 SMA every day, moving higher, moving higher, moving higher, moving higher, moving higher, moving higher. And then on this day, look what happened. You know, me moving higher, moving higher, moving higher. And then it comes down to that level, and I'm like, okay, 25K. We are at that level. I didn't actually buy 25. I bought around 26 to 27 because I was kind of like, it still has, okay, are we going to go through, take the lows, big impulsive? So I was like a bit kind of like wary. We might just, drop another 5-10% through the lows, even back to 23K. But then once you close back above it and you have some range, that's when you know, okay, this then looks good, because hindsight is always good. But that's what I mean by moving this up with price. So right now we are the, 81, call it 735. That's where we are at the moment with that 200. So tomorrow, if price still continues to go higher, I will be moving this up to, let's say, 82.45. So it's not by much that it moves, but it moves by the close of today. So whatever close today it will be, this will move up by a few dollars. I hope that makes sense. Super, super important, and I track that every single day. Wow, quite a few questions there. We are going to dance around the 100 for the next 3 weeks. Yeah, potentially. Longs to be safe now locally. I mean, this is the thing now. Because of where we are now, being at the 200, let me just put the key level there. This is important, this. And let me go down to electronic. I'm going to go down to 5 minutes there. 30 seconds. Yeah, we are. There is a little scalp here to be had, but we've not lost any structure. So let's keep an eye on here. I'm actually going to pull up. Yeah, the thing is, I don't really want to take many shorts here, but we are, you can see the rejection already. So from 100 and, call it 100, 200. Yeah, but it's not the biggest range. So let's expand all of this. If I see the short, we can take a little short scalp. If anything, this is a region where we should be hunting for those, because as you can see here, which channel am I? Let me just share this. As you can see here, there's not much above. Let me just make sure. Just going to go to the left. This is TPO. So above the highs. Yeah, it's that 760, 700. What do I have marked? I have marked 700, isn't it? 101, 700. Let me just load a few more days. Let me go 6 months. And let's let it load. Daniel is too busy watching the football highlights. Probably. Have you noticed the late evening night pumps around the 10 p.m. start pumping? Yes, and that's rebalancing, and that's other parts of the world waking up and getting some capital to work as well. And a lot of exchanges do flush their order books as well. They have to make sure that there's bids and asks on both sides of the market. I have never charted the BTC-D chart, never. Would you take a swing short scenario confirmation look like? Okay, for a swing short here, you'd want to see at least the previous week high lost, okay? And you can see that that's at 98K, okay? You don't want to, look, a lot of people want to take the shorts too early. And I always prefer now to, at least see a break in structure. You'd have to come back inside that previous week high close, but, we're not talking about a 10-minute close or, 15-minute. You want a good daily close below this level. We don't have that now. I mean, value is high. Everything is higher. And we're just kissing this resistance here. And look, it was not, this is quite funny, right? It was not 100k resistance. I mean, this is obviously very granular there. That's why I like to use the line chart for this. It was not 100k. We didn't pause at 100k. We went through and touched that level there. So that's what, traders are looking at, institutional traders. But yeah, it's still not confirmed. Like even locally here, you're still, making higher highs and higher lows. You can clearly see, right? This is a high, this is a higher low, this is a higher high, and potentially we can still make another higher low here. Even if we dropped, come back to the 99,600, we can still go and make another high. So just honestly, most often than not, if you have a nice and healthy trend, that's typically, the side of the trade you want to be on, not on the wrong side. So yeah. Can you share one setup which you have used to grow your accounts, the level and the reactions you want to see? Yeah, typically you want to see a nice swing low and a little market structure change just to confirm you. So it's like a recipe, and you're always going to need context as well. For example, let's say right now we have a level tapped, check. So that's one thing. Have you got the second thing, which is like, for example, a low broken? Well, not really. You haven't broken these lows, but, really inside this little local thing here, we don't really have anything solid until really the low down here. And that's 99. So you'd have to really break some structure. Let me go on a 30-minute and show you. And I'll probably hide all of this. There you go. And let's put the candles back in. There you go. Like you can see it, right? So we've hit the level, sure, but we have not broken any structure. So, you'd be very premature to take a short now, because it's like, it's likely that we still go through potentially. And only when you change this little structure here, let's say we did go through now and then close back below. You close back below, the next candle comes and retests this. Okay, what you can say to yourself, we have looked above, we closed below, okay, that's okay. Then on the retest of that close, if you get it, that is, sometimes you don't get it and it just flushes through. Then you can take a short on the breakdown here. Let's say you don't get the retest, get the short on the breakdown, but your stop needs to be here. It doesn't have to be above the high, because, if price then from here goes up to there, well, then it's like that it's going to go and take the high, because the overall market is trending higher. Therefore, you want to go with that little breakdown and aim at least to here. This is just a tiny scalp that helps you like build accounts. You can go with a bigger size because your stop is literally just here, and then you can just aim for these lows or the previous week high. Okay, so you could take, for example, 75% of your position off here and then the rest down here. And then, if the question that you've just asked is to grow accounts, that is the best way to do it. Is just take your trend trades on confirmation and then just collapse as much as you can, because that's the only way you're going to build accounts. Do you trade ES and NQ during the London session? Yes, I do, and I've taken a nice long earlier down here, and it was the previous day. You can see that previous. Oops. Let me just change. Yeah, previous high back test. Shame I closed it a little bit too early. Maybe I should have left it open for the stream. But yeah, I'm not here to flash. I'm here to just take nice trades. But now I don't really see a good trade here. Let me see if there's a trade and we can take it together. ES. We are trending higher. We did. Look at that. We did retest the 58.9. Oh, look at that. See, these streams sometimes get in the way. Look at this, my downside target. And I made these targets today for the purpose of this stream, so the scalps. And I was obviously busy, and this happened 50 minutes, maybe when we were starting to stream. Yeah, 56.89, which was the back test of that previous day high. So we're coming into our next level now. So we got 700, which is the high there. And then the next one is 10. So let me just take a look at order flow here. Yeah, we're basically coming into a wall. 04 and then 10. So we don't really have a big range there. Yeah, I can't take a long here because I don't have good risk to reward. We're basically coming into a big order, which likely to be filled at 704 on ES. And then on NQ, we are filling a big position here. So we could have a little move back down to VWAP, but a little bit premature. It looks like it wants a little bit higher. At least 20s. 30s is always good. But yeah, ES still wants a little bit more. But yes, I do trade ES and NQ. But right now I don't have a good risk to reward trade, as you can see there. We could potentially attempt a scalp at 20,200 if it dropped now. In other words, leave the high as is, drop down to 20,200, 20,195, so this little box here, and then just push it back up to the 30s, which is the current day high, okay? But we don't have that yet. Oops, okay. Smash the likes, yes. Do you also do live streams for all coins? Sometimes I do. I do requests. ETH, I don't like ETH anymore because it's just too slow. It's back at the same price as it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Do you use order flow wise to action a trade? Yes, I'm always here. I use level 2 data, and this is like a book map. So for ES, NQ, and BTC as well. But BTC, I prefer to use the good old kind of like divergences, CVD. So I track the CVD, the volume, and the delta, and then that can give me like a nice gauge of, you know, who's in control or not. Because BTC likes to seek those highs and lows, okay, and therefore the liquidity map, or these, typically you find that the massive orders are going to always most likely be above those highs and lows. And I think I have a fractal here on this. There you go. So I have a fractal here which shows highs and lows, and currently there's nothing above price. I'm going to change this to 1 hour so we can do it together. And I'm going to load 3 months of data. So it might take a little while. There you go. And I just want to see. No, there's not going to be anything there. Let me just try. Yeah, it's going to be behind a little bit before. So yeah, there's no significant. We basically just slashed through the latest high there. So that's what I'm saying. Right where we are, it is likely that we might get a little pullback back down to previous week high VWAP and single print. Because the distance between where we are to the next level of resistance is a little bit far. We're talking a few 100 points there. So there's not much. And I'm going to show you this on the weekly. So if I just go back, and for this also I need to go back a little bit. I need to go by 6 months now because we've broken through 100k. There you go. So now we can see this. There you go. So you can see, maybe I need to make this a little bit bigger. Oops, it's going to skew this, but yeah, maybe you can see it now. We're basically there. We're basically coming into resistance. The resistance I just gave on the chat, which is this, that is a good level. So if we reject here, potentially can get a little pullback because there's really not much until we get at least to 101,700 first level and then a little bit higher. So yeah, we're basically at it. This is a weekly chart, by the way. So this is the session and we're coming up to $100,300. That's the box, and that's literally where we are. So let's see if we go through. I'm going to set an alert and then we can take a scalp trade. But you know the context. Context is bullish, but we can take this counter trade. Let me just actually mark it as 260. Okay, we got the alert there. So let me know in the chat if you see it. Apart from that, there's nothing else here. And I'm going to keep this on let's go 5 minutes so that we can track this together. Because so far the volume is still coming in on BTC. And then I'm going to keep an eye here as well. So it's likely that we still take that high. Maybe we could go down to 1 minute on NQ. See if we can push a trade here. And let's go down to 1 minute as well on AS. But during London, I like to trade NQ better because the moves are a little bit better. Let me just go. We do have 260. We do have room to 260. So we still have this range here. But yeah, it's just very tight. Yeah, it's not the best. And when you look at the order flow, you can see, look, we're coming into a wall here. So, you know, the risk reward is not good. And look, like I said, you know, if you want to take a long, you want to see at least a little pullback. But because of this, if this hits first, then the context changes. Let's say they fill this order here on ES. This could just slash through those 295s. So it's like all context depending. Is there free software for measuring order flow, or how to measure what to do when we hit a level? Oh, well, I would have to direct it. I would have to show you, you know, the modules in that we've covered. We've gone through everything. I've covered, for example, the DSF, the DOM surface, which is an amazing tool. It helps us, for example, right? You know, this software here, it helps me, you know, box in my trades. And if you're a champion and you're in a chat, you know that. Because boxing in trades is one of the things that a lot of traders you know, struggle. I still do, just being transparent. It's very hard to box in a trade. And what I mean by that is, let's say you get into a trade. Most traders, and I've been a victim of this myself, will close that trade as soon as it starts going, and then you kill yourself or you kick yourself because you go, oh, but it went another 100 points. And it's very much like, you know, why did you close? And going back for all my journals over the years, it was very much like there was always something missing. Like, you don't know exactly. Like, if you say, okay, I want to take a 2-to-1 risk to reward trade, okay, but you know, that trade could go to 5. And it's like, you know, why did I close it so early? Well, now, because we have advanced order flow software that shows where the orders are. Let's say, for example, you were on that long trade from much lower, and you see these big orders waiting for price up here. Well, instead of collapsing, let's say at, you know, 90s, you could say, well, I'm going to hold to 700s and 5s, not 700s exactly, because look, we got to 700, a little pullback, but still went through into the next zone of liquidity. This is real liquidity, not what we see. You know, many traders say, you know, oh, it's here liquidity below this or above that. Well, no, actually, liquidity is where the liquidity is right now on the books. And right now, that order there got filled, and you can see that all of the levels, that's the current liquidity. And the next one is sitting in at 5,710. There's 112 lots there, and each lot, it's 50 times the index price. Happy days. The software is using is Quantower. Yes, that's correct. Do you use to compile statistics, automation for strategy? No, I do everything manually. Good old-fashioned way. I use an Excel spreadsheet. Yes, in play. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye here. Look, I'm going to keep this on this chart here. I can see BTC going through our level, but again, there's no rejection, there's no trade there. You know, the volume is still healthy. You know, we still have an uptick in volume. You know, delta is still positive, CVD is positive. You know, order flow is telling us like this here is still okay, and it will be obviously bearish if we start closing below, but it's not. So, you know, just have to be patient. NQ and ES, we are on this tiny little trend here. It looks like it wants to go and clean the high now into the at least 30s. ES is going through. The context has changed a little bit, so there's no trade here, unfortunately for now. So yeah, let's keep up with the questions. Please do ask. I'm happy to share everything, and if I see a trade, we take it. That BTC, let's keep an eye on BTC, because we are at my level, right? This is my level here. So perhaps we have to go down to a 5 minute, but I'm on a 5 minute there. See, this candle here looks better. So this is the 1 minute candle. We've looked above, like finally we've looked above and closed bearish. And if I did take a short here, I'd take this short down to the previous week high, which sits all the way down there. So between the previous week high, we do have 98. Yeah, we do have the point of control. What's the range here? Yeah, that's all right. We could, yeah, this is an okay trade. I mean, we could put a little bit of risk here based on let me just see. I want to see at least a little change. It looks okay and it's valid because of where we are. But the volume is still coming in. Only now that we have 25 lots negative on this candle with poor volume. Let me just push this up here as well. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 singles. But we still have quite a bit of volume up there. It is mainly positive. Yeah, this is important. We've hit... Right, if, let's say you did miss the long trade and you are interested in a scalp or a short, we're basically kind of there now. And I'll show you why. We are at my key level, which is that RTH close, 100,235. Okay, so this is it here. We are at an untested previous week value area high there at 100,375. So we kind of like right here. We have a few, not a lot though. We have a few trades above price now. So it's still a little bit bullish because it's positive delta. But if they get trapped up here between, yeah, above this level, above this key level, if this starts to close below, we might potentially have a trade back down to previous week high, okay, and VWAP. So VWAP is like the fairest value down there at 98, 940, but we don't have that change yet. So we could go to a 30-second here. I'll keep it on this chart, and let's go with this, because then with this we can see the structure change. But it looks okay. It's building basically. Okay, best heat maps for BTC. I already long, and I would love to know whether to leave the longs open to start opening shorts. I wouldn't open any shorts yet. You know, if anything, these here would be just scalp trades, day trades. But the, you know, when this here tells me that we are one time framing up on the daily, one time framing up on the weekly, and one time framing up on the monthly, I typically refrain from taking too many shorts like long term, because, you know, we're bullish. Gonna try and see if I missed any questions earlier, and we're still kind of moving to those. See how we touched right those 30s on NQ. 20,230. So we're still kind of like moving slow and steady higher. Let's see how you know whether to stop and reverse the trade or leave the long running for higher. Yeah, you can use, yeah, I like to use the boxing method. In other words, if it's green, just use 2 higher lows back, depending on the time frame that you are, and then just let it go. What is the best time for you? Best time frame to view order flow in action to trade? Well, it depends. Like, let's say, for example, now, I love the 30 minutes. This is the 30 minute here we're looking at, and I've got quite a lot of order flow here. I've got the current 30-minute period here, showing me exactly what's happening in this auction. Okay, so I know who's in control and I know the value is higher. So technically you want to see this continue going higher, or depending on the delta here, we've got quite a lot of positive delta there. If we close below, then they get trapped. Meaning, like if you have, let's say, 50 traders that took along at 100,200, and then suddenly, you know, you can see how many there are, but then suddenly price is down here, you have to think yourself, okay, my competition, which is these traders, they are right now, anyone who bought there, they are underwater. Therefore, for them to cover that, they're going to have to sell that trade. They're going to have to sell it. So that means if they're going to sell it and price is down here, they have to market sell this trade and price can go a little bit deeper. So you being like aware of your competition, what they're doing, you can then take that little short scalp back down to that previous week of VWAP and then you make your bank. That's it, just by being aware of this order flow here. So I'd say 30-minute is amazing, really, really good. And then when trading BTC, for example, because we don't get the cleaner candles, like this is a 1 minute, you know, there's not enough volume yet on the CME on BTC to fulfill the candles. Then what I like to do is on the CME for BTC, I like to go to a 30-second, okay, and I like to put the line. So this is a line chart because I can still see the highs and the lows, but because there's not enough volume yet, when you put the candles, it's a little bit broken because there's not enough volume coming through. Okay, so you know, use a line and you will get the same price action, but it's a little bit more cleaner. Okay, you can actually see like higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high still, and it's struggling. You can see we're coming to that key region and it's struggling a little bit, but you know, not lost anything yet. But you can see from the high to the low, it's still intact. Let's mark some lines here. It's still intact, but we haven't lost, but it looks like it wants to have that little pullback. So let's keep an eye on volume here. And let me just put this in the middle. Yeah, see, there's not a lot of sales coming in just yet. You know, it's still a few buys there, but it's neutral, very neutral there. Maybe we should go to 1 minute, give us a little bit cleaner. There you go. And you can see I've gone 2 back. So this is the first one, this is the second one. Let's see. But yeah, so time frames, you know, anything from the 30-minute down to 1 minute. Someone is saying this is amazing. Okay, perfect. The order flow software that I'm using here is Quantower. Your accuracy in detail. You need to understand order blocks, flows. Yeah, smash the likes there. Just going back on the questions and still keeping an eye. So we've finally hit those 30s. Yeah, I don't feel like taking shorts here just yet. So let's wait. I mean, I still have some time. So pop your questions in. We can stay for a little bit longer until we get that trade. And let's keep an eye on BTC as well here. Okay. Yeah, so during London, more NQ trading than ES. ES tends to be a little bit slow during London. Okay, I'm just going back on all the questions and then go back to beginning, and then I'll see if I can take this trade here on BTC. The moving average was 200, red, 50 is the blue, and 100 is the yellow line. Okay, so, and then yeah, you can look at the 20 and the 10 and the 5. They're also very good. Hello, Igor. What tick size you use for the TPO on TradingView? 10. On BTC, 10. Use tick 10 on BTC. Only when you're ranging sideways for some time, then use 5. Okay, so 5 and then go to 10. And there you go. We're still kind of holding there. So we've got now the new period is open. So that's W as just open. And let's monitor this. I'm on tick 5. There you go. So I'm on tick 5 on BTC. And this is the proper CME chart on BTC with real order flow. So currently we have 3 lots there at the open. So that's 3 times, what's that, 5 times 100. Yeah, that's quite a lot of volume coming in just on 3 lots. So let's see what they do here. I do like this zone. Let's see if they can push this to back to the 300, potentially reject. Might have to give ourselves a little bit more. Okay, NQ also looking a little bit toppy here. But still making higher highs and higher lows. If we do drop on the NQ, we could take a trade down to those 95s from earlier. But it's not there yet. Just keeping an eye. And yeah, look at BTC, still flirting with that level. Can you see how a nice hand-pick level is amazing? And today we have no data, only in the UK. Just looking to see if we have a trade here. So yeah, it looks like ES is also looking a little bit toppy, but there's a little bit more room to the 10. I had the 10 also there. Yeah, 57.10. So let's see if they get there. That was my second level, as you can see there. So 57.10. Oops, let me just change the chart. So 57.10 upside target. So it's still flirting there, and it's still not confirmed. BTC coming back below that little trend line. Let's go down to a 30-second. Okay, we are coming back below. And if we take a trade here, the risk, I don't like these local highs here. I would have preferred if this high took it one last time, because this is the arrival. But it looks a little bit better here for the short trade. So if we took the short here, we could go with 10 lots, and that would give us around stop at 450. Basically because the trend is still higher. Okay, so this trend is still going higher, so it's not a lot there. And then coming back down, so this is just for the purpose of scalping, we would be looking for at least, I mean, this is the problem for the downside. You'd want to take it at least down to the previous week high, which is at 98. So it gives us good risk to reward, but we've not broken, apart from really, really local here, we've not really broken that kind of like local time frame. And this is a 30 seconds, so we're going really deep here. So let me just anchor it right there, and let's see if we can take a little scalp here. But it's still not quite guaranteed there. I'm going to take it because it's only 200 risk. So I'm going to try and fill there on the bid. There you go, we filled. And I'm going to move this higher there. I'm looking at gross P&L there. Okay, we're in this little short there on BTC. And then we'll try and get this down to that previous week high. And risk is just here, okay? And also, everything we cover here today is for, it's non-financial advice, as you all know, and it's all for educational purposes only. Okay, but the reason why I'm taking my little scalp short here, it's because we are at my level, okay? So you can see here. So we are at my level. We've looked once, looked above. The high is not the best, okay? But it's okay. It's relative okay. We've spent a bit of time here. We have a few lots up here open in long trades. We are moving down first. I would have preferred to see them move up. That's why I was saying that sometimes it's best to just go above it one last time. So, but we have a little bit of room there. And yeah, this is only trouble when they start losing those lows. But on BTC, sometimes you just have to be a little bit more aggressive. But let's see if they trap these longs up here. We've got 12, 1, 8. So there's at least 25 lots there trapped. Be nice to get a little pullback. We have 3 levels of confluence. So let's see if it sticks. Yeah, and we can, yeah, and this is what I was explaining here. So it's nice to see that move up first. But yeah, we can see if it sticks. Yeah, just a little scalp here on BTC. And we are kind of like trying to roll over here on NQ. So let me see. But there's still quite a few orders above price on NQ. But yeah, any more questions, please let me know. I'm happy to explain everything in detail. I'll take a look at the last. There you go. Igor, when will the new Quantower templates be shared with the champion members? I can share them today. I can share them later today. Just remind me. But I wanted to do a quick little lesson on just how to enable a few things, because like there's quite a few things that I've done on this that shows, for example, the order flow inside the candles, a few shortcuts that I've done and saved, and it kind of like helps us just to see a little bit more detailed. And also like all the things that you can enable and disable on the fly. But yeah, I can share that. Do you also do live streams for altcoins? Any chance of posting, recording if you did? I mean, Severin does the altcoins updates, and honestly, it's amazing. Like he's on a like I was gonna say 100%, and I think it is 100% win rate on those. So yeah, I mean, he does it every Thursday. So later today, we're going to have one stream just dedicated for altcoins. I would highly recommend, because he's really in sync with that kind of like notion and the markets. And I'm not so much on the altcoins, because I focus more on BTC, NQ, ES, a little bit of gold as well sometimes, depending on, you know, if the London session is a little bit too slow. Do I do one-on-one coaching? We used to. But now you don't have to. You can just join the champions, and I'm there every day posting, you know, real-time thoughts. Most of the time, like saying, yeah, I like this here for the short, taking the short or the long, and giving my targets. It's not a signals group. It's just like, okay, what am I looking at and how I arrived at that decision, and I'll share everything. And you can go through the Discord, and you'll find that that's what it is. Order flow, yeah, Quantower. What is the best time frame? Okay, 30 minutes. This is amazing. Okay. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Are you expecting? Okay, hang on. Thanks. You are welcome. Perfect. Are you expecting parabolic moves on all coins? Potentially. If I'll tell you what. I think the parabolic moves will happen, and we are getting that little retracement now here on NQ. I might put a little short scalp. Yeah, BTC is still stuck at entry, but yeah, I do like. What's the range here? Down to. Just looking to see if we've got a little short scalp here on NQ. It looks like it wants to snap down to 200s from where we are, but it's still support here. So this little region here is still support, but if we lose here, I can see a snap down to 95 200s. In other words, 20,200. It's working on it. Okay, back to here. Actually, I'll leave it up there so you can follow along. There you go. Love it. Okay, perfect. Initial balance, yes, it plays a good role actually. I always look at the initial balance, but more so on the stocks. Okay, in other words, yes and NQ. This helps. Thank you for your insights. You are very welcome. Nixu, you're awake. Failed auction. You want to see a look above and failed. So you want to see a look above, let's say a key level, and then fail, come back, but then close below. And for example, here on BTC, let me just show you this. Here on BTC, even though we have looked at my key level here, we have, can you see the numbers here? This is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So that's a good high. So let's say that's why I'm taking the little short here, even though we've opened, and there's in my statistics, there's a high probability that we're going to trade through this W here, this high. However, you know, because we are at my level, we are spending a little bit of time here, we've got a few longs trapped here, we could get that little pullback and then later come through this level. So attempting the short here, it's low risk, 250 risk anyway. On BTC, I mean, that's nothing. In some exchanges, you pay more fees than that. And, you know, we could potentially be in for like $1,000 drop, like if we can come back down to at least that level there. So just waiting to see that. And we are getting that little pullback there on NQ. We might snap down to that 200. It's just making very slow move there. There's no meaningful follow through, and the volume is very low as well. So yeah, it's a little bit slow this morning. Where did you learn all this? Most of the things that I learned, I've had to unlearn. And we had a roundtable last week or 2 weeks ago, and I actually went through that. You know, like most of the stuff that I learned, I had to unlearn, and that was my biggest ever hurdle in trading. It was unlearning the stuff that actually doesn't really work, and you're stuck and set and like you want to use it, that's what it is, but it's not. So I've learned a hell of a lot. You know, it's been 8 years now, and I've had to unlearn a lot of stuff, and now I focus on what works. Hence, more, you know, for the past 3 years, 2.5 years, I've been just purely looking at the CME, open, high, low, and close, you know, a few moving averages, you know, especially the 200, and then TPO. And why TPO? TPO gives you the context for the day. It gives you, like, let's say, for example, are we finished? And I'm going to change this to tick 10 just to show you a couple of things. Like TPO gives you like, are we finished? Do we have a rotation that needs to, you know, be tapped again? For example, down here, we've got like an okay low. So, okay, we can pump. Here, very good low. It's a P shape, higher. So just by looking at the market profile, and I'm basically like, for example, here, let's look at that P that I was just looking at. Here, this one. Oh, it keeps moving. Stay there. Where'd it go? There. So this P here. So this P, to me, says you have an amazing excess. And I think I'm on the wrong screen. Yeah. This P here, you have an amazing long excess, like looks like a P shape, right? So this is a bullish P shape. So you want to kind of like refrain from taking too many shorts, because it's likely that the market wants to push higher because it's a P shape. So P shape is bullish. And TPO just gives us that, like, and obviously, you know, we're trading much higher than that today. When it's thin and elongated like this one, it's like a trend day. So we're having a trend day today, but it's quite early still. You know, New York Open is not open yet. But yeah, we're technically still very bullish. One time framing higher. This is the 30-minute. And you can just see that by coming in here. So the short that we're taking now, it's a little bit aggressive, but it's at least it's a good key level. And it's a key level that can give us a little pullback. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, this is still bullish. Look, K has not been broken. P, Q has not been broken. R not been broken. S not been broken. T, U not broken. V not broken. W still stuck. So you can see that this, since this morning, has been one time framing higher. Yes, you can say, okay, what about N? Well, it's inside the range. So just look back at least one to kind of like say, yeah, it's broken. And TPO gives you that, especially when you couple it with the volume profile like we have here and the 30-minute auctions. It's top notch and I love it. So yeah, I've had to unlearn a lot, but I must say this. What really gave me an edge was that when I first started the journey of trading, I took an interest for TPO, and I loved TPO, and I just really delved into it. And then I found Jim Dalton, and I highly recommend any of you to, you know, take a look at his work, his books, you know, because he's very good when it comes to the market profile. So yeah, take a look at that. I use Bookmark for BTC, but it continues a lot of resources. I guess so, yeah. Where did you look? Okay, that we get that. Early in the chart, mark the high of the line chart. The key point observed magically rejected at. You described it as a technical perfection. What is that line? That is a call it a settlement, okay? That is a settlement price. So it's the close of the true New York session. Christian, Igor, you okay? Thank you. What's your biggest resistance above on BTC? Thinking it will retrace first before continue up. For BTC, the biggest resistance is the all-time high. Or I could say 137k. I will say, I will give you this. The biggest resistance right now for BTC, we pretty much, yeah, I've already given it today. It's here. It's 101,700-ish. Okay, that's the biggest resistance. And that's it. We're kind of coming into it. After that, your eyes need to look here. Oops, can't draw a trend line anymore. Yeah, after that, you have to look above the high. If you break past anywhere here, actually, yeah, that little line there. Why that line? It's the highest low before the all-time high. So that's significant. It's about 102k. Okay, we're kind of like heading towards it. You can see here, there's like since 94, it's just like one way, and this is the daily chart. Yeah, trending higher. Such a good chart, right? So clean. Anyway, we're still BTC is still stuck there. 4 ticks, 3 ticks. NQ really does not want to snap into those 200, so it's still holding there steadily. ES still has unfinished business at the 10. That's kind of my level to the upside still on ES. It looks like that's where market wants to go again. We could take the long trade here, but it's very slow on that. If you do, have a range of $250, so it's not a lot. NQ as well can snap down to that 20,200, but it's just, I mean, you can see it's not really there. BTC, it's the only asset here that looks like it might want to just have a little pullback, but still not going anywhere. So let's just give ourselves a little bit more time there, and I'll go through the questions, and we can move this back down to the 30-minute and keep an eye here. Let's pop the candles and let's pop our key level to remind us that we are at resistance, but it's still not confirmed. You can't trade BTC on AMP. You can trade on Optimus futures, but you need to request their support to enable, because it's disabled by default, and then you need to drop a hefty sum of money in there to be able to trade. Such a legend. Okay, perfect. Igor, with the lot being 5 times the BTC price, what do we need to have in a CME account in order to trade one BTC lot? A lot. You need a lot of margin. Hence, we trade the micros, because obviously you have, I think it's $2,600 that you need to open one micro. So 10, you have to double that. Well, you have to multiply that by 10. Your volume is increasing. Yes, we have a little bit. I would say it's still likely that we go. Let me just move this back down to tick 5. It is likely that we go and take and clean that high, but there's space. We still have space. I mean, we could allow ourselves. What would give us that? That would give us around. We could give ourselves 350 risk. Yeah, that's up to $100,500. Do you believe you are still in the B wave? I don't look at Elliott waves. I'm sorry. I've never have, and I feel like, because the reason why I don't look at Elliott waves, it's because you give the same Elliott wave to. I think this is really good actually. You give an Elliott wave, or you give a chart. Okay, let's say, let's go to this, and let's go to the weekly chart. And this is NVIDIA. You give this chart to 20 traders, and every single one of them is going to give you a different Elliott wave count. Okay, now watch this. You give this chart to 20 traders, and you ask them, give me the close for the last year, and they will all give you this figure. They will say the close for the last year was 134.20. 29 cents to the tick. And that's it. So now, the difference here is that Elliott waves are very random. Like, you will have to be very good at it, but there's so many like things in it. But when you look at the thing that matters most, which is the good old open, high, low, and close, that is where the price action is. Like, you can respect that. So for me, I like to go, in terms of Elliott waves and like Fibonacci and targets, I like to go with the good old dot to 5 tool, and I get everything I need on this. I like to go with this, and I go dot to 5 range, and here's my Fibonacci levels, or Elliott wave targets. With this, I can make my trading a lot simpler, especially when I use the good old closes. Okay, so that's what I like to do, and I don't really look at Elliott waves. So with this, I can make trading a beast. Now, I hope that makes sense. Already short. Hey, not financial advice. We could, thank you, mate. We could. It's on the right one now. We could still go up to 100,500, but locally this here looks okay for a little short scalp. But the context and my bias is still bullish. Like I said earlier, while we remain with the daily, and this is the important thing here, daily, weekly, and monthly, that's what I like to see for more upside. Okay, so if any shorts, yeah, give me a little key level like this, but we're a little bit premature on this. It looks like it wants to go and just retest it again, just clean that high there. I'm just going to put this on the line chart, but let's see. We might still get it. We might still get it. And yeah, NQ wants to go and ES wants to go and finish those 210. I'll leave it up there so you can see. And it's funny that they lifted the ask there. So they have lifted the ask. I like your approach. You are welcome. The 200 SMA on the CME versus Bybit USD has a $8,000 different. The 100 SMA 3,000. Well, it's simple, DMC. You plot the 200 SMA on the CME. You set an alert at the 200 SMA simple moving average on the CME, and when that alert goes off, you then go to your chart on the Bybit USD, and then you trade it as if you were trading the CME chart. So the CME chart kind of like takes the respect. So it's not the price. So forget the price. So basically, you talked about $3,800 difference. So just throw that out of the window, and then just look at the time. Okay, so when that alert hits, you're gonna have a time. Look, just like here. So when price was coming to our level the other day, and I'm gonna put this on a 30-minute, okay, and it was actually an RTH close. Well, believe it or not. So this high was made at 355. So this high here was made at 355 right here. Can you see there? 16. Look here, my time. So 355. That's when we actually hit that that level at 98,555. That's where we hit that level at that time. But on other exchanges, it was, let's say, 97. Another exchange was 99. Another exchange was 98. But on the CME, it was, 955. 98 and 98,555. That was the level. And then you had 5 minutes to get into the trade. And then look, you got a move all the way back down to just below the poor low, which got repaired, by the way. So that poor low down there got really repaired. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because we are quite zoomed out. And there you go. So this is the poor low that we were looking at. Okay, and I was actually short, and the champions know that because I went to a live stream on a Tuesday, and that's when we got the move. I actually took the short and the long, and this was all kind of like live. So basically down here, we had the low from the overnight. Let me just zoom in a little bit and go across, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And where are we? I think I went too far back. There you go. We're here. So we have the overnight low. and then we have the RTH A, D, and E poor low, and then we had another session, okay, for the overnight, making this line here at 93,945 weak, like really poor and weak. So what happens? We open RTH. Look at this. We open RTH. We take the low. We didn't take previous week low, which was literally just below here, and we quickly closed back inside. So once we reclaimed the initial balance high, we came back down in D. We were taking the trade at 94,500-ish. So the champions know that, and then we took that trade all the way up to the previous day high. So that was the trade there. But yeah, really nice to see that you're always going to have time to enter those trades. And there you go. BTC is coming up to that nice resistance now. So in terms of the swing high to the swing low, we're at resistance. But yeah, you can see here, even 10 lots, it's $59. So it's not a lot. Plus the fees. So let's keep an eye here. Let's see if we can reject here for a little pullback down to that previous week high. What's a poor low? A poor low is what I've just explained here. A poor low is when you have a series of letters that are less than a single print. Okay, so this is a good low because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. So that's a good low. And then the next day you start trading, this is the A session, and the A session is just the 31st minutes of the session, and then you've got B, C, D, E. Each letter represents 30 minutes candle, okay? So that's why it's okay to look at this as if it was a 30-minute candle. So you've got A, that's the 9:30, you've got B, etc., the initial balance. So a poor low is when you have this letter being just one tick, but you can see you've got A, D, and E all in the same price range, 93,975. So that becomes a poor low, meaning that it is likely for price to come down and trade through that level. And look here, on this day, so the next day, we come down at 12:30 and we made another poor low because it's so close to it, then we can call it a weak low. That means the odds for price to come through that level increase even further. Like there's now like pretty much a 80% chance or even 90% chance that we're going to go and tap that. It doesn't have to be on the same day. It could be the next session. So then when you come down through that level, you know, okay, we are repairing the low. So now you can say, okay, do we get a failed auction? And that is just simply looking below and closing back above. And in this case, okay, A open and it closed right at it. Look at this. So we looked at that I period low, which was 93,945. And on this day here, I'm going to zoom in to show you. A is the open of the session. We go all the way, we clean it, we trade all the way back to the point of control of the previous day, and then we came all the way back down and we closed right at that 93,945. That's why that A is red, because that's the close. Green is open and A is the midpoint. And then B open and it was like, thank you very much. We've cleaned business. Let's leave excess or a single prints, 1111111. Okay, and then let's go back through that initial balance high at the time, but then obviously B becomes the initial balance high all the way through value. And then the question is, okay, now we've seen a failed auction below. We didn't break the previous week low, meaning that's bullish. So we want to get long. What do we have to do? Okay, there's a single print. The single print was here at the B session, you know, as it broke the B session. Let me just mark it. So that was a single print. And during the stream, this was around 3 o'clock my time. You can see that, 3:30. I was like live and I was saying, okay, let's build a position as price is coming back down to fill that single print. We filled that single print trade and we took that trade from D all the way up to the next resistance, which in this case was the previous day high, which was here. Okay, so we took that trade up to the previous day high. And then it's quite funny because M close, M session is the end of the session, and then we had the pullback, meaning anyone that went long with us was taking profits and price had a little pullback. So it's kind of cool to see how you can just look at the good old TPO and look, BTC is not moving. You know you've picked a good resistance when BTC doesn't move and it's stuck there. There you go. Would you consider this rise healthy? Any rise will be healthy based on the volume. And if you have volume increasing, I mean, let's go back. Actually, let's take a look at the good old, the proper CME chart. So let me just go here. And this is the 30-minute chart for BTC. I'm just going to hide. Let me just hide this and this. Just hiding everything here. Right, so we are moving higher. Let's take a look at volume to see if it's healthy or not. You know, like on any, and I did a video on this actually, on any, I'm going to hide these. I'm going to hide these quickly as well. View, let's take these. Okay, so on any move, we still have something here that I need to turn off. Step, profile, and let's do. There you go. So on any auction or move higher, like if, like for example here, look, you know, you get nice move on the beginning, and you know, funny enough, it's the New York Open. That's when the volume comes in. Overnight is always flat. Okay, you can see that. So you get the move up, and you can see an injection of buy volume there with the delta, and then you get the move up, and then on even the breakout here, you still get that volume increasing. So notice here. Volume increasing, and then you come back down, you have a nice purge there, not much volume, and then again comes the New York Open, well actually the session open, you get another move up. But as higher prices are coming in, so these now are higher prices, you are much higher up here, yet the volume is decreasing. So you could say, you can argue now that even though we are higher, it's bringing less people or participants to the market. Therefore, you know, the auction can be seen as we might be coming to a little end just for now. Doesn't mean like forever. And then we get a little retracement. And then you want to see if price starts to move down, and then you see a little bit of increase in volume. Then you can say, okay, well, now lower prices are bringing in a few more participants, meaning like they want to get involved again in this market, and then that kind of like dries off again, and then you get another counter trend action to the upside for the next levels. So yeah, that's how I look at it, and you can use open interest as well. So if you look at open interest, then you've got these two things, and don't make it complicated with the open interest and order flow. Just look at this. If you have price up and then you have open interest up, that's always going to be bullish, okay? Always. And then reverse it for the negative side. But you always want to be like, you will always want to see price up and open interest up. And then obviously if you're bearish, you want to see price down and open interest up. You want to see that new money coming in terms of shorts, like new negative delta, by having the open interest still up, okay? And then the price going down. So that's bearish. So bearish and then bullish with both of them up. It's very quite simple. And that's another way to gauge if a move is healthy or not. And any advice on reading open interest on bars using adders? Yeah, of course. I just kind of like cover that. Okay, talk about the process of unlearning what you've learned in the last. What were the main techniques, indicators that you're using in the past which ended up in abandoning? A lot of stuff. And I could spend hours on this, so it's best if I, refrain from talking about it, because it's not, I mean, a lot of stuff really, basically. If you're good at Elliott waves analysis, you can almost predict price accurate like method. It can be profitable. Yeah, I kind of agree with it to a certain extent, but I feel like, no. I've been around for a long time, and I've never used them, and this is where I am. Right, now, I'm just going to quick look. There's still, I mean, ES is now at our level, the 10s, NQ 50s, so both levels were on my radar. So 50, 58 on NQ, we've just hit 47 still, so there's still a little bit more room there. But ES is finally here at the 10s. But you can see there it's not giving us what we want to see for a trade. So unfortunately, I can't take a trade on these two markets now. Like ES is still, I mean, this looks unfinished as well. This looks unfinished. That long trade from the 10s, that was the only one on the yes that we could have taken earlier, but you know, I wasn't interested on that still. So yeah, BTC is still kind of like working in a way. Watch for that little pullback. Hopefully we'll get that. And if not, it's okay. Just look for value higher. And currently it's still higher. Value is still higher on BTC, as you can see here. And the delta is now shifting positive. So let's see if they trap these traders up here. But at least we traded one tick above W open, as you can see there. So we at least repair that high there. Looks a little bit better now. Will Bitcoin go up? What's your time frame? Let me go back here. For NQ, you can trade one NQ and ES for $1,000. I think NQ is 1,000. I don't track that anymore, but I think it's 1,000 on NQ and 500 or 400 on ES. And then for the micros is like, you know, a fraction of that. So, you know, the futures are very, very cheap, like really cheap when you compare to crypto trading. Igor, you're always going above and beyond. Just work. Perfect. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Elliott wave is nonsense. It's not nonsense, but yeah, I argue that you can get the same results, or if not better, by using out the good old-fashioned things. There you go. We are, I mean, I can see it would be nice to get the rollover. And look at that. The swing low that we picked here was really like would have been the best entry. So if you are short, just keep your stop. I mean, we could even lower risk a little bit. Just keep your stop above the high now, and see if we can get that little rotation back lower. I would say at least, I mean, previous week would be nice. Previous week high, that is. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really see anything too special here. The trend is still up. If we do drop here, that's a good $1,000. But yeah, NQ and ES is just not giving me what I want to see to take a little trade. You can see this is a 1 minute. We don't really have, since we started the stream, yes, we moved up. I was already long, closed way too early from the previous day high. And I think that would have been the nice trade earlier. You know, had I held that, but I didn't, we'd be obviously in really nice profits now. But I locked about 300 on that. BTC, if it drops from here to our target, can give us another 1,000. And then I'll be waiting a little bit later to see, okay, do we get the 250? And then do we get a rejection? Because we're kind of near at it now. So 58, do we get a rejection around this area here? So like 60s. Do we get a nice rejection there, close back below? Then I can take a little short trade, just back down into value, where I could potentially take another long trade. Longs obviously are better. And while we're at these extremes, you have to wait for at least a good pullback to get into the sink. And I think previous day high was the best level here. Already taken that trade and collapsed it. So there you go. They're getting a little push here through the 50s. I'd like to see a little bit higher, at least 58s into the 60s. Just looking at the SF, you can see there's a large order being filled there. And you can see that ES did tap those. Let's have a look at the market profile. Yeah, where are resistance there on NQ and ES? BTC quite slow still. Let me just do something here very quickly to see if we can catch this. On NQ. And I'm going to change this to 10. So I'm just basically going lower on my tick size on NQ just to see if I can get this little short here if we get a trigger. Yeah, 50%. Still has a little bit more room. Might even have to lower this a little bit more. Any questions, just ask. I can stay for another 20 minutes. Hang on, let me just go back. Never trade ES on NQ. Where to start? Is there we do have lessons on that. Yeah, we do have lessons. You could open an account with any brokers, but I would say always first with anything, test the platform, whatever platform you're using. Test the platform, do some paper trading just to get used to the feel for it. TradingView has a paper demo account. You can just use that to start your journey. Let me just go back to NQ as well. See if we can go through those 56 into 60s and then close back below. After such a strong move up, would you look for a new range to form up here, or it doesn't continue impulsively? Yeah, you always want to see a range, but don't forget, we have just left a range behind. So you're either going to go test it or you're going to fail up here and you're going to go straight to the opposite extreme, which is the previous week low. Okay, so previous week low is the other side of value. So if you do fail up here above 100K, that's what you're going to see. But I'd like to still see higher on BTC, to be honest. No, Paulius, I never look at the BTC dominance chart. Never looked and never will. I don't like it. Other traders might argue, but I don't need to look at it. Just going through the rest. Yeah, keep your questions coming in while we're waiting for a nice trade here. Yeah, BTC is stuck, not going anywhere. Will Bitcoin break 100K? We just did. It's literally trading at 100,195. Did you open a short position with market ordered? No, on the bid. So yeah, it's easier. Interact with brokers, which symbol for the Bitcoin CME? CME is, we are currently trading the MBT, well, that's for the micros, MBTK5, which is the current month contract. But you can track it on, there you go, there's that little pop. But you can track it on the, what's it called? On the continuous contract. So the high there is at 56. Basically want to see if we also reject here on the ES. Yeah, we're still one-time framing. This is the thing, like it is, if we want to take a little short here, it's very aggressive as well on ES and NQ because all the markets are trending higher. So it's a bit aggressive to take it. I'm interested in the market profile. What kind of roadmap would you suggest for learning the purpose? Well, join us in Chart Champions, and every day I kind of like talk about it. But yeah, there's a couple of videos I've done on YouTube that kind of like go into it quite a bit. It goes over the profile shapes, value, very important. So I'd say go over to the YouTube, Chart Champions YouTube, and watch those two videos that I did on volume profile, market profile, and then the one with both of it combined. Okay, very, very important. And I also go over a couple of trade examples there, okay? You say BTC broke. That's the CME exercise. I haven't paid my attention. Well, this is it, right? This is it. Like, the CME typically is kind of like, well, basically I trade a CME. So, other exchanges will just kind of like always be on the back burner for myself. Yeah, I find a lot more respect on the CME. I always take good trades on the CME. And if I get stopped by a minimal risk. And other exchanges, often you'd have to give yourself quite a large stop because, the market goes and get those stops. Or you just have to do it by the nature of, the low liquidity, the long wicks, whereby on the CME you don't really get that. Sometimes you do, but it's not as often as you would. So yeah, that's... Yeah, EPM is the, yeah, that's it. EPM is for the CQG data. Yeah, that's correct. So EPM is for the CQG data. So you can use that. If you're on AMP, that's CQG pair for the ES. That's right, EMP. You say, okay, my trading platform is saying it hasn't yet. Yes, obviously you do have the contract adjustments as well, so don't forget that. You might see that maybe you don't have that adjusted, or is adjusted. But yeah, it's the futures. We're looking at the BTC futures, okay? So it's not like, you know, Coinbase or TradingView, you know, Bitstamp and stuff like that. We're looking at futures only, okay? For the purpose of this stream. And we are still lingering around this level. I mean, look how long we've spent here. So the longer we spend here, the more likely it is to go through that, because this candle here, let me just go down to 15. Yeah, it looks like it wants to go and complete that auction still, but you know, it's still a good level. See, like when you compare it to this high here at 100k, we spent just 15 minutes, 1, 2, 3, reject, and here we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, it's still resistance for now. Still resistance. Thank you. You're very welcome. Zeta, you're welcome. When does the contract switch to the next month? Okay, yes. I tell you what. On TradingView, there is a feature which actually shows you that. Let me just see. Events. I think it's here. There you go. Let me just now go to the daily, and it will tell us. Maybe 1 hour. Oh yeah, it was there. There you go. So the next one, there you go. So on TradingView, on TradingView, if you go onto your settings and then just go to events and then select the contracts switch, it will always tell you, like for example here we are on the new one currently, which is that the J to the K, which is what we're trading now. And then you're going to get another one when it gets to the 27th of May. Okay, there you go. So you get the from the K to the M. Okay, so that's how you do it there. I hope that makes perfect sense there. I was focusing on the possibility of reaching 67. But maybe I'm mistaken. 67 is like really far away. How to check the data and read data on your screens? What? How to check and read data on the screens? What you meaning like these? This is an order flow software. This is Quant Hour, and this is what I use to trade. This is TPO on the daily, so this is a daily TPO chart. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out so you can actually see the day. Hang on, let me just go with ES. It's probably easier. And if I zoom out, so each one of those represents a day, and then this one down here, it's the weekly. So this is the weekly profile. But on the weekly, you really want to zoom in and see where you are. So this is basically today. So this is Thursday trading, and you're basically at the only resistance on this chart on the weekly on TPO, which is that 100, 390. So we are at resistance there. So that's the only thing I'm looking here. Do you factor in the CME gap below in larger time frames? Yes, I always look at the CME gaps, but I look at the CME gaps a little bit different because I use only RTH that data. So I'll always cut the overnight, always. Okay, TJ. No, you can build a position because we're at resistance, but from experience, you want to see at least a little local trend. This little short scalp here on BTC, it's still kind of there, but you know, the more we spend here, the less probabilities it is that it's going to stick. And the only reason I'm taking it here is because we looked above into my resistance, spent a bit of time there, trapped some longs. You know, they would trap earlier, And then we came back below. We broke this little tiny little local structure, and this was really just to be a scalp, but you can see it's not a scalp now. It's taking pretty much an hour and a half. But you can see here, so breaking this little low here, that's when we were taking the trade down here. But it's kind of looking like it wants to go higher. So you want to have your stop around the high, because you want to be stopped out just for what, a few ticks, 200, less than $300. Okay. And then what we wanted to see then at the time is like, once it breaks this, at least get the retest of the trend line that we marked, and then get that continuation lower, to at least, a good 99,500. That would give us a good $700. So it's a 2-to-1 trade. So we're taking the trade from here, risking 300 to make 700 at least. So yeah, at least a 2.5 or 3-to-1 trade that was. But it's looking like it's not going to play. And it was obviously to taking here on stream live with you guys. Interested in joining, but what would you say is the minimum amount to have to trade the charts so that the chart champions is worth it since the subscription? What? Interested to join, but what would you say the minimum amount to have to trade the chart? I mean, it depends, but you can really start with a minimum amount. I mean, I see traders starting with $1,000. It is really low, but I see traders start with that, and they trade the micros, and you need to put the hours in, and it's what you put in that you take out. So you can start as little as $1,000 really minimum. But if you're asking that question, that's because it's it's going to be hard. So yeah, at least minimum 1,000, so that at least you can put a couple of a micro lot. And there you go, we're getting stopped out on that, so it's coming up to those 390s. Okay, I mean champions or the other one, I'm not sure what you're saying there. Be very nice if you can share the trading view chart and make it public. The trading view link. Yeah, I've done that before. Yes, that's it. Yeah, if we break here, I'm expecting my second level, which is going to be it's quite a big jump, really. So basically, if BTC continues to go through this here now, let's say we do close above this now, which it's coming up to, and I might just adjust this slightly. Let's say if BTC does come through that and starts to close above this close, we're going to have to look left and see that the next level is the high. So we're looking at least 100,700, which comes in, and let me just delete those lines because they look ugly. There. So we're looking at the next one, which is here. So that's the next high, and I'm going to go to a 15 minutes, and there you go. So the next one will be around here, but I prefer much higher because yeah, we still have nice momentum there. And you can see that was an okay place to attempt the short, and you can see that we had that nice little pullback, closed below 2 candles, 4 candles actually on the 15-minute, but it's just not dropping yet. So there's still some buying coming in. In fact, we had a bit of buying now. Let's have a look. Let me just share this here. Yeah, we're still getting a little bit of buying here. There you go. So 107 lots. So the volume has really picked up on this last little move here. Let's see if they fail the auction now or continue. One lot there at the high, 10,400. And then we can wrap up the stream. So final questions. Don't forget to smash the likes. Yeah, and NQ, and it's still there. It's still there. So we've looked above my level. No, yeah, we've changed this local trend here. So yeah, we could have the little pullback finally. Let's have a look. How long do we have? 4 minutes. Okay, let's wait for 4 minutes and see if we get the little pullback now. And yeah, we're down $195 on that trade. So we're about to get stopped out. And you can see that on the CME, that's not a lot of risk. Plus the fees on the side on that. Still topping there. I like that we've reached a nice level here on NQ. Finally, 60s. Yeah, this would be a nice place for a pullback, but we've got 4 minutes there for the new period to open, so I prefer to be a little bit later than too early. Fractals is all you need. Maybe, yeah. Okay, I mean, from my side, that's all. If you don't have any more questions, that's also good. We are getting that little failed auction here on NQ. I might attempt a little short scalp back down to range low. On this, BTC is still lingering with our level. I'm going to actually put this on the 30-minute now. And I'm just going to go candles. There you go. We're still there. We're right close to our stop. But I kind of like this level. So I might just give myself a little bit more room up to the 500s. And then let it play. Especially with NQ and ES finally coming into this little resistance here. The only resistance. And we're overextended and outside value as well. So we might get a little pullback here. BTC coming in now. 2 minutes left. Let me see. Best broker to use, I would say M Futures. They're very good. Optimus Futures also very good. And then the rest, you know, like you've got interactive brokers as well, good. Depending on where you are, you've got, like, if you want to invest in stocks and things, you can use Trading 212 as well. Targets to the downside on BTC. I've got 3 targets here. I've got 98,600, which is the previous week high. So this is it. If we do reject here, we can see a little pullback back down. I mean, VWAP is currently, around there too. So let's say we do reject here. We could see a little pullback back down, but this is not bearish. This is just like a little rebalance, okay? You've got the range highs here, so this becomes a nice place. So that's why I'm entertaining the short trade here. We could get a little pullback, and then this is what I will be interested in the long trade. Down here, previous week high. And then below that, we have 98, which is just the previous day's range here. So you can see we got the 98, previous day value area high, TPO, and then settlement down there with the value area low. So 3 levels there that I'm keen and interested in for BTC. This is just locally for trading today because tomorrow is already Friday. And yeah, that's that. So yeah, thank you very much for being here with me today. Not many trades, as you can see, the market has been just kind of like hedging towards this, 60 level on NQ, ES, the 10 level. We actually hit the 15, so $5 above. No trade here. I took the little long trade on NQ earlier from the previous day high. Should have left it running a little bit longer, to be fair. But yeah, the day is still early and there's still many opportunities to come through today. So I hope you've learned a few things today. If you have any questions, always pop any comments down in the section below. If you want to, try out the group, just come and check in. We've got a lot of people in the videos. If you're in the house, I'm sure you'll have a lot to tell the people because you're always super active in there. BTC, please don't FOMO long up here. You can see that we've spent look at that. We've spent quite, and I will move my stop a little bit more higher because I feel like we might get a little pullback here. But sometimes on BTC, it just means that we're probably looking for that nice push through, then rejecting, close back below. But it looks, we have a single print now only, as you can see. So it's likely that we'll still take it. So yeah, I'll take a good look after the stream and then I'll post in a group what I'm doing with this. But it looks okay still. And that's it. So yes, thank you very much. I'll be back here in a few weeks time, maybe a couple of weeks, do another stream, see where BTC is. And in the meantime, I don't really post much on socials. I kind of like leave everything here for the champions, and that's what I do. So yeah, thank you and goodbye.